go through the map veto. Let's find out where we're going to be playing. You got a lot of record for both of these teams since they both played pretty far into the Invitational. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to map veto, so we'll probably have a lot of information to talk about on the map that we get to. Theme Park's still in here, so okay, Cafe Band instead of Theme Park by SSG. So I remember how I said we have a lot of info map-wise for these teams to talk about.
I do remember that. You just said that.
I did just say that. We don't have any info for either of these teams on Theme Park. So neither's played them yet. I guess we get something new. Oh. Yeah.
I've only casted Theme Park once, I want to say, so far. My memory is foggy because it's been a bit of a compressed schedule over the last couple weeks, but I think I've only done it once, if memory serves me correctly. First and foremost, which, by the way, if you're playing a drinking game at home, the amount of times I've said first and foremost, as well as regardless tonight, you would probably be dead at this point.
At least you haven't said irregardless.
I'm pretty sure I said that a couple days ago on a personal stream of my own, and then I got roasted for it because usually I'm better. Usually I'm better with my words than that. Anyway, drinking games aside, these are two teams who are extremely innovative. They are both teams that I expect to see bring really cool stuff to newer maps. You know, Space Station changed the way that a lot of teams play Clubhouse. TSM, in the way that they play Villa, has changed the way that a lot of teams do that. And TSM can kind of say that they helped lead the charge away from Trophy and Statuary towards the kitchen bomb site down below. TSM eschews the standard and the norm, and they go to oftentimes the unpredictable. And speaking of unpredictable, that was 49% TSM to 44% for SSG in terms of community vote. The community vote for this one would have been a little unpredictable as well. Let's waste no time. Let's get in here. Let's play Theme Park. Why don't we? It's the two best teams in North America. They're fighting for first place. Who's going to get it? We'll find out.
Oh, I just want to add a little bit of context as well for those of you who don't know. First of all, I'm not going to talk about the ban phase. It's Theme Park. Neither of these teams have played this map, so we're just going to let it play out. But yeah, some context for you guys. Basically, not only is this a fight for first place, but this is also the only substantial fight for a difference in payout in North America. Because for first place, you get $50,000. And for second place, you get $22,500. So it's a very different story. That's over double for first place. So there is actually something on the line here for these teams, where many other teams today are playing just for bragging rights. These squads are definitely playing for something at least halfway meaningful. So that's important to note. It's also worth noting that the bragging rights are even more substantial for this match than any other match today. So yeah, there's a lot riding on this one, and I expect this to be the only high-stakes match we see today. Now, that makes for very different gameplay overall. Typically, you'll see people play just entirely separate from themselves when they're up against odds like this. So a lot is going to come down to how well these teams deal with the pressure. And if we know anything about these squads, we can say that SSG is really, really good at handling pressure. In fact, they are probably, well, I mean, I'd say that they're the best team in the world at dealing with it right now, considering they've just won the, Sixth Invitational, and they are your world champions. And their path to get there was very, I'm sure, stressful. So TSM start on defense first for Theme Park. If ranked is anything to go by, that's an advantage.
Say that again. I'm sorry. I don't think I heard you there.
I just wanted to see how you'd react, Parker. You did not disappoint.
5 seconds left before.
Let's see. I heard ranked, and I was like,
oh boy. Yeah, no, I mean, but it
is where boys become men. Ranked, you see?
No, it's where men become toddlers.
Reloading, cover me.
I think that's just video games in general.
Oh yeah, you're right. You got me. Touche, Parker. Touche.
Anywho, Here we are, here we go. And we'll watch two of the best in the world and two of the best in their region tussle on a map that we have seen a surprising amount of play on, but a lot of standard style play. One thing that was mentioned on the EU side of things, after the G2 match on Theme Park, which I casted with Milos, and Milos interviewed, I believe it was Citizen, they said that allowing Goyo to be available really influences how defender-sided this map can be, and especially this bomb site. As we noted, it's a standard Mira Echo ban. There's been no variation on what is and isn't available. So you're going to be dealing with the same style of ban meta in regards to it being Mira and Echo, but you're not going to bring any real nuance to that. And I think part of that is because these teams haven't played it against each other. They haven't played it. They don't have any information on it. Things are standard until they're not, and then they start to see what other teams bring and the way that they actually attack and hold some of these bomb sites.
Yeah, the thing that I want to treat this match like is, or the way that I want to treat this match rather, is as a learning experience. Speaking of learning, we're learning that SSG are very good with their nades. I'm sorry, did I say learning? We are reaffirming that they are very good with their names. Geo will get one kill though. So Bosco goes down. TSM fighting back here. Pojaman could be recovered, but it's unlikely. Looks like Sun's coming in to possibly clear out the ADS to then later get kill with the impact. Not sure. You can see that Geo wants to get that save, but it's not going to happen as Pojo has now been droned out. So TSM going to have to fight from the back foot. Bolo will get one from behind. Plant coming down here from Canadian. No one's in a position to stop it. C4 has failed there from Merc. That's huge. Rampy finally finishes off Pojo, man, but it's just a bleed out. Post plant, though. TSM have to retake into this, and it's not going to be easy as Canadian shuts down Merc. Bolo from behind, shooting a corpse, and will die to Rampy shotgun. It's all on Geo, who gets shut down by Canadian. SSG, a solid post plant lockout.
That's what you like to see if you're a fan of Space Station Gaming, and the way that they attacked that and held that off. I am a bit surprised with how many people were still upright when they got the plant down. You know, there was tons of staying power from TSM to be able to stop them and not allow an execute to go off. And they you know, I don't know if they didn't know. I don't know exactly what the issue was, but they just seemed to allow Space Station tons of opportunity to get into the bomb site and have the control that they needed. It certainly wasn't a numbers issue, so I am a little confused by that one. Regardless, I wanted to say irregardless, by the way, so badly. I really just wanted to be like irregardless, because I knew you would have just like, and we can see each other on webcam like the whole time, and I just wanted to like watch you slowly cock your head up and like look at the webcam like, he did not just say that. Regardless, whether it was a retake strat from TSM or not, Space Station could have handled it quite easily. In the way that they had set up and structured the push, the way that they had the post plant covered, and the way that they had the avenues and angles held, Space Station were very well equipped to stop TSM in their tracks. So you have to hope that if you're a fan of TSM, that things are a little bit different this time. They're not going to make the mistake of going to another bomb site. They're going to double down on it, and we're going to see if there's going to be any difference with the way that TSM is able to hold Throne Room.
I think similar to us, TSM is trying to treat this as a learning experience in terms of, you know, they're going to go back to Throne. Why are they going to go back to Throne? Well, they want to correct the mistakes that they committed in the last attempt. And that's all well and good. That's fair. See how it pans out for them. They'll be going for another roam here, as is usual on this map in general. I think one of the biggest advantages to the defenders on this map is actually just the depth of the map. There's so much to clear out, and it shares a lot with Villa in that regard, I suppose, or Bank. Now it's going to be a pest clear here. These are a pain to deal with, but you'll see Fultz will get it done. Well done to him. Sacrifice a drone, but it's for a good cause. Spray's going out to the roamers. Fultz will eat some damage there. I believe that's Merc who's going to put that damage down. Rampy does get Bolo, though, so damage Bolo was able to do in the last round, not going to happen this one, as he's already gone. SSG, though, at least have lost some damage, or rather some HP themselves. Jackal going to be very effective operator on this map. Actually, I think as the meta develops on this map, we might see more Jackal bans because the roam is, again, one of the main advantages for the defense.
This entry is going to be very irritating to the members of TSM, as removing Bolo is a major obstacle, but we talk so often about just how many threats there are when it comes to this TSM team. There's nobody that you can take for granted when they are left alive, and even though Pojo has the least desirable stats, his value comes in the way that he's able to support the team. So there are no, I suppose, poor performances, we'll call it, when it comes to this squad. Back TSM goes, as there goes some of the hard destruction onto the hatches, and SSG's entrance is, well, over towards barrels. The Jaeger down below of Geo has been spotted out. Now as the Mozzie of Merc and SSG are coming very close to being able to win these gunfights and just continue to alleviate some of the pressure that TSM have on them. There goes Merc, he gets caught. Geo is still trapped inside of Drug Lab, just waiting very intently, and we know he's a talented enough player to be able to get himself out alive if it comes down to a duel. But he's going to lose some of his cover. Still playing behind the rack inside of Lab, as he's got the attention of Rampy from above. Lots of time being committed here by the Buck, and Geo could be able to do something with this. There you go. Beautiful shot on Nabasco, but it's from Geo, not the one that you expected onto the Buck. Geo gets 2 kills for his trouble taken out. Will there be enough time? 10 seconds left for SSG to pull this off. Exothermic charge getting the wall. They'll scramble to make something happen. Canadian rushes in. He's going to need to go for a plant. Gets shot as there's one prone on the ground, but not enough guns active from SSG, and TSM will ride it out in large part because of the clock. A little too much time taken by SSG, and Geo ends up saving that round by eating away over a minute and a half for the rest of his team.
Yeah, I think you're right. Geo is the hero there through and through, as he managed to just chew up that round and spit it out. TSM, a solid hold there, but again, mostly on Geo's shoulders. I got to give tribute to SSG's ability to clear the roamers, because that was probably the most impressive thing that I saw through that round. They locked up that top floor very quickly with almost no time wasted. Their focus on the roamers was also laser precision, or laser focus. How do you correct that, Parker? Like when you're like, you start going into an idiom and then it's just the completely wrong way, and then you have to take a left turn. How do you correct that? Laser.
Mash him, Michael. Mash.
I did it. But
you mash the idioms, Michael.
It didn't work as well as it usually does.
Sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. If that's an idiom, right? I believe, that's a...
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. Now, as I was saying, the roam clear was great for SSG. They were very effective. But when it came to Geo, they really weren't able to make anything happen. He did a great job of waiting that out. TSM in the bomb site did a great job of waiting it out. And yeah, like you said, winning it on time. Well played to TSM. SSG, though, they've got the makings of a great attacking team on this map. Canadian has a pre-placed drone inside of B. That's going to give great information. Thinking Nate has one by the yellow staircase. There's already a lot of info established. I've talked about pre-placed drones in the past with these squads, and they are super integral to attacks in this day and age for these teams that are on the top end of Pro League.
One of the greatest comments that I've seen paid to Dark Zero when it comes to their opponents is that, well, Dark Zero have phantom drones. They get drones in spots that people don't even know exist. And I've seen it time and time again. Obviously, we've never played against Dark Zero, so we don't know from firsthand experience how true that is. But when you're getting spam marked inside of sight as a defender and there's no conceivable spot on the map for a drone, I can imagine that there is a great amount of frustration that would set in. And with it, I think being able to say nice things to your opponents, even when you're losing, is the hallmark of a good and mature team. So TSM and SSG, by the way, are no slouches when it comes to that either.
No, they are not. Neither team slouches in really any department, if we're being honest. That's what's put them atop the region.
I've heard they had good gaming chairs, which has allowed them to have good posture, which is why there's no slouching.
They have good gaming chairs. They have good mouse pads. Possibly all of their setup is good, and that is why they are professional players. Don't you know? They also have really cool looking skins. Their synergy is off the charts. Now, SSG having a little bit of a slower clear this round. More than half the time on the clock wasted by TSM. And it's clear that TSM is read into the winning formula for this map. Hey guys, if we delay long enough on this huge map that takes a lot of time to clear out, then we'll win on time. And so SSG are leaning into that quite heavily, and it's working for them very well. We've hit the last minute, and there are still no casualties. Thieves has taken... Oh, speaking of casualties, well, there's the first. Merc go down. As I was going to say, Achieved has eaten a little bit of damage, but that'll be some more bullets shoot up there from Merc.
Now, this is a worse entry for Space Station in terms of playing the objective and in terms of clearing out the roamers than it was in the previous round. Geo was able to waste so much time, and if you're Space Station, you cannot allow that clock to continue to work against you the way that you did before. It's going to sink you, especially when there's only 30 seconds left. There's a toxic canister that goes out, but Geo is baited right into Fultz. Well played by SSG to just pinch the remaining members. Off-site play from the Valkyrie of Bolo, trying to get back to the site as best as he can. There's Bosco to get Pojo Man, and things are falling apart for TSM. They're going to need to get into the bomb site and plant. It's being done by Canadian right now. Achieve gets Rampy, his position given away. It's a return to the site from Bolo. Achieve's not going to make it that far in. Amidst the smoke, a C4 from Bolo gets tossed out, and he is lost. Space Station lock out the round in the post plant for the second time so far on attack. They looked much better than they did in the previous round. Bolo had no hope at all.
The off-site plan there for TSM, not great. The anchor play was also pretty poor. The best thing that TSM did there was wait. And that's not a good sign necessarily because, okay, yes, I agree with the thought that you need to wait on theme park. It is how you will be successful more often than not, just delaying. That's a great thing to do. But when it comes to the actual attack onto the bomb site, you need to be capable of rebuffing that attack. You need to be capable of going toe-to-toe in the gunfights. Because SSG are establishing these crossfires that are not very friendly to TSM's situation in the bomb site, they are struggling to hold on. A part of that is actually the bomb site that TSM is choosing. Drugs is a very difficult site to hold, and it partially is because of the vertical destruction that is so abundant for the attack, but it's also partially because there's a lot of lanes to execute from, a lot of options to open up new lanes on, and more often than not, the site is reliant on you playing off-site. Now, I have mentioned in the past that that is an integral part of any site, really, on this map, and I stand by that. But I will say that, again, that off-site presence for TSM in that last round was pretty poor. Lackluster. It didn't accomplish a whole lot. The delay factor was great in the initial roam, but there was no retake potential. Absolutely zero retake potential in the late round, given the way that TSM was set up. And because the anchors accomplished nothing, well, that's a really dire position to be in if you're TSM. So, another round for Space Station. It does not bode well for TSM, mostly because it is theme park. And again, I would say cautiously and hesitantly that this is a defender-sided map, even though it's still early in its competitive lifespan.
It was very, I think methodical is a word I use quite a lot, and I think it would very much work here when we talk about SSG, and I like the way you said that. There was zero retake potential, and I think it's because SSG didn't necessarily hunt down the roamers all that much. They actually let most of them live, and TSM were just a little bit too far off-site to be able to make anything work, and that is a major problem. But just like they did with the very first bomb site they went to, Throne Room, TSM is going to go back to Drug Lab and downstairs, which is interesting to watch because of the fact that most teams will immediately go over to bunks as their secondary site, or at least from the limited play that we've seen on Theme Park, that bomb site has a higher pick rate than Lab does. Doesn't really matter. TSM will have to hope that they can support each other very well, because the one glaring issue on the previous round was TSM's inability to have each other's backs, and it allows SSG to bully them. When you're bringing a Jackal, when you're droning in an Ash, when you've got Rampy doing destruction from above and your roamers are mostly down below, you are going to find yourself very vulnerable very quickly, and if you don't have somebody supporting you, it's going to go real bad. The thing is that if you're Bolo, you don't need somebody supporting you. You've got the blessings of the Macy J charm. He takes out one, cannot collect Fultz, who takes out Merc. So both teams back to a 4v4, but there's not a lot of time left to work with. We are very quickly approaching the end point of this round.
Nice attempted flank there from Achieve, but he gets shut down by Fultz, who gets the second kill. SSG once again in actually a very powerful position here. Man advantage, enough time to execute onto the site. TSM once again trying to wait things out. We'll see how it ends in the final few seconds of this round. We come closer to that. Rampy looking for an angle, looking for an opponent. That's some barbed wire cleared out. Information denied, but SSG is up against it. Only 20 seconds for this rush to work, and it's going to come down to a lot of 1v1s, given the positioning of SSG right now. There goes one of the Evil Eyes. Ooh, narrow miss out on an angle there, but the nade goes in. Bolo will get a C4. The nade will land on top of Bolo, but he dodges the drop into the main lobby. Thinking nade will get one. Geo gets Fultz, who is flanking for bathroom. Rampy has to get two. He'll get one. Will he get the second? No. TSM locked that out on 000 once again. That has been the only way that they've won these rounds so far. A nice execution there from SSG that comes just a little too late. We will get a rehost if the admins call for it, as TSM is calling for it.
Oh boy, she's real bork there, buddy. As Pojo says, and they call for the entire rehost, and you will likely see us back on your screen. Unfortunately, we don't know exactly what it is, but if the sound is technical term, borked, that can't be a good thing. So
what does that mean? Never heard that.
I don't know. It's definitely, I mean, it might be an American thing as well, but it is very much a Canadian saying. I've heard it an awful lot. Borked just means that it's broken. Something is busted. Something is not working. There's a more profane word that I think usually fits that mold.
Does it end with bar?
I know what you're saying. That's a Canadian term as well. No, I was thinking it's that's it. So,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we know, and we're learning things every day in Rainbow Six Siege English class. One of these days we'll finish our vocabulary, but it's an ongoing process. Anyway, thesaurus.
Shall we talk about that round, Michael?
Flip to page 250. Yeah, so that round, SSG once again falling victim to time. TSM once again playing around time. I have to be impressed by TSM's commitment to this play, which just is going to wait as long as we possibly can. This time they invested more heavily in their anchors, and that ended up working out for them. Much less in the roamers. Also, the roamers saw more success. Bolo did have a good roam as an individual. Apart from that, really, it was just SSG not being quick enough on the attack, I guess. And the control that they established on the top floor was not beneficial enough to justify the time investment.
Yeah, the roam from Bolo was, I think, a lot better this time around on the Valkyrie rather than running with a Vigil. And I know that I made note of the fact that it wasn't as well supported as it could have been. Well, if you've got a Valkyrie playing off of her cams, and those cams are very selfishly laid out, you've got whoever's playing in sight, which I think was Pojo Man on the Maestro, if memory serves me correctly. You've got them to basically sit in sight, knowing that SSG hasn't been playing for a sight hit style, so they're going to take quite a while to be able to get everything in order. They're bringing tools that mean they're going to be a while before they push in and go for a plant. SSG's style isn't really to just try and, all hell break loose and rush right in. So if you're an anchor, you know that you can support somebody upstairs on those Valkyrie cameras, on those Evil Eye cams, wherever they may be. Evil Eye cams are likely going to be safe in the site, probably aided by ADSs, so that you're not going to have them get taken out by Zofia or Ash right away, or possibly even a Buck, depending on who's getting played by SSG. So, but honestly, this is a defender-sided map, and we are in the 20-second meta, which means that the fact that SSG is able to pull anything off on a map that they might not be very familiar with, they have no experience playing this map competitively in matches. They've obviously scrimmed it, but they've never played it in a match. I would say SSG is actually probably outperforming my expectations right now. They are definitely above and beyond where I would have thought, especially with TSM starting on defense.
Yeah, that's a big takeaway, isn't it? That SSG's managed to take at least 2 rounds off of the attack. That's solid. If they get 3, then even better. I would just say compare it to like Clubhouse or Cafe or something like that. You know, in your head, just kind of the round expectations in that kind of ballpark. It's not established yet, but we can surmise things based on our own experience on the map, and what we've been hearing from people leading into this map coming actually into play. Yeah, this being their first actual match, both of these teams, first actual match on this map. I'd say that they're impressing with the way that they're setting up. TSM seems a little bit less developed on the map so far, is what I'm noticing. I will say that because the way that they've been doing a lot of these rounds is trial by fire. That's what I was trying to say. And what I mean by that is they'll go to a bomb site, they'll try to defend it, fail, then learn from their mistakes, try again, and be successful. So what that shows is an ability to adapt that is absolutely fantastic, but it also shows that their initial plan maybe needs some work. I will also say that a lot of these setups from TSM seem less like setups or angles or like strategies or stuff like that, and more like, hey, we're gonna go to this bomb site, we're gonna play like this, and like this means wait it out, because that's what TSM have been doing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's okay. SSG is a notoriously patient team. I think that's the trademarked saying, just as we talk about how well they play the Mutant Mozzie meta. I think we have to talk about how often, how patient the squad can be. And that plays exactly into what I said about their lineup. They're bringing a Jackal, they're bringing a Buck. They are setting themselves up for the long haul, so to speak, rather than being quick about it. And TSM have shown that it takes them a round to be able to find their footing. The good news is for TSM is that they're gonna go back to Throne, presumably now that it's unlocked. They're not going to be able to go back to Drug Lab at all. They can't go there. So where is the third bomb site going to come out? We might not see one if they prove to be unsuccessful defending Throne Room, because we might end up seeing 4 Throne Rooms and 2 labs, which is an interesting spread, the fact that you wouldn't see TSM go to any of those top floor bomb sites. But as said, this is the way that TSM plays. TSM does not always like defending upstairs. They don't like doing it on Villa. They don't like doing it on Cafe. They like their buffer site. So it makes a lot of sense that they would play down below. You just need to be a little bit tighter against a team like SSG, who's bringing tools to trap you and pin you down and find you in those exact circumstances. Everything seems to be working, Michael, so we're going to get into the match in just a second here, and we're sorry, and we appreciate all of the patience here as we now load up and get ready. But yeah, thumbs up, everybody. Thank you very much. Here we go. Throne Room, as speculated, for the 5th defense from TSM.
The Throne, by most people's account, is the best bomb site on this map, but we're not done yet. We haven't seen 2 of the available bomb sites. I don't know, Parker, what are your favorite sites? Since we don't actually have an established meta, what are your favorite sites on this map so far?
I don't have a preference at all. I haven't watched enough of Theme Park to really have an opinion. Just like when people freak out about balancing changes, I like to reserve my judgment until I actually get to try it instead of just crying on the internet.
Right. Based on my experience playing the map, and from what I've heard from other people, it's definitely Throne, numero uno. Probably Initiation, and then Drug Lab. That'd be my setup there. But everybody's different, and that's the cool thing about new maps, is that we always get to see a new meta ensue on that map when it comes out. We'll see something different from every different region, every different squad, and eventually over the course of a year and a half, as international events start to ramp up and meta gets shared across the seas and all that, we actually will see a solidified meta established on a map, and we'll see what comes from that. Once that's established, then it develops further, and there's non-stop movement. Anyway, that is an endless rabbit hole. So we're going to get into this match. Clear for the top 4 here for SSG. They're going to try and clear out the roamers to start with, obviously. That's why they brought that Jackal. Again, I can see a Jackal ban being really powerful in this map. Considering how long it's taking SSG to clear out the roamers with a Jackal, imagine without a Jackal. And a big part of that is the Mute Mozzie combo we're seeing prevalent in this round and every other round so far for TSM. I mean, geez, he's just trying to drone out of control, and he's hit a Pest and a Mute Jammer. And there's the Mute himself, Merc. Shotgun onto Rampy, and he'll just fall back. He doesn't need to stay upstairs anymore. He's done his job.
And Rampy being as good as he is for his team, he's not going to be able to do anything. He'll sit on the bench and wait, assisting on calls on the drones that'll be set up from SSG. This is where we'll really test how good the drone skills from Space Station are, and if they can match, or at least pass muster here, as there's going to be more weight on the shoulders of Fultz and the remaining crew of Space Station. No flank routes being given at the moment, as there goes an air jab, and with it as well, Bolo now on the other side of the map, removed, as he's been roaming in basically the same area that is very much Bolo's domain up top. And he's gone. But there's time now for Space Station. You weren't worried of stalling out as they had done on the previous round. Baiting out a C4 very adeptly. That's Fultz. He'll use his Ash breaching rounds just to open things up and give himself a look down into the bomb site. This is Throne Room, keep in mind, in a lineup from TSM that looks very similar to what we've seen in the past on both their Throne Room defenses.
Tick-tock. Goes the clock. SSG need to get on top of this round unless they plan on executing the last 10 seconds once again. I mean, they've come pretty close to making that work before, so this time, nope. It's going to be 25 seconds when the execution comes out. Bosco's moving his way over to Dragon to try and get a crossfire here. That's smart play from SST. Diffuser in hand over by Yellow Stairs. Bosco will get one from that Dragon doorway. Merc goes down. Smoke to cross. Good, effective smoke usage there from Bosco. Thinking Nate also gets Pojo over by Throne. Chief is down, so it's all on Geo. He's only got a bullets worth of HP. There's no way he's going to be able to stop this plant. He'll post plant, and he'll be shut down. SSG clean up that round. 25 seconds is plenty, as it turns out, for Space Station, and successful assault onto Throne.
Well executed, and things again falling apart at the very final moments for TSM, proving that with the successful defenses that we've seen out of the TSM team in rounds 2 and 4, winning the even numbers, forfeiting the odd numbers to Space Station, not only means that round number 6, this should go in favor of TSM, just with the way that the record has been going so far, but in the pattern. But the one thing that really works in TSM's favor is they're currently living and dying off of the roam, and more so dying than living when it comes to these 5 rounds. If TSM forfeit a pick earlier on, even though they did get the opening pick in that previous round, if they lose too many members that are playing off-site, or if Space Station are able to know where the TSM members are that are roaming and then avoid them, it causes a major headache for TSM. And this is the second time that we have seen Space Station be able to take control of Throne Room, get in, get a plant down, and then cover exceedingly well. They've involved smokes both times, and that's something that you don't see in every single map. A lot of plants go down in default spots without the cover of a smoke grenade. In this case, SSG has needed it, but TSM need to do something in regards to how they're playing off-site, because they are just getting mopped up when they try to come back into the bomb site, which they should be sitting maybe a little bit more defensively on top of.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Maybe.
Swapping mags!
Maybe not.
Loading new magazine!
SSG, though, doing a decent job of at least pushing the roamers around. Yeah, Bolo's roam has seen about a 25% success rate, I'd say, or around there. He'll need to work on that one for sure. I think TSM could do well to work together on their roam. It's another thing. They're often getting into those 1v1s, no refrag. That's problematic. Defense here for TSM looks like, yeah, Throne Room. Once again, TSM really does need to actually get this round, by the way. If this is a 4-2 on attack for Space Station, then they all but have won this match. And that's an unexpected result because it would be very dominant to win like that. I mean, it's, you know, all well and good that SSG wins it. That's not unexpected. What would be unexpected is the dominant nature in which they win. Now, it's a nice C4 there from TSM. So an aggressive play for Merc, and it'll pay off. Hello, goodbye. Sure.
So long. Merc has played very aggressively on the same cache position that he was on before as the mute. You noted how much difficulty Space Station was having in being able to assess control and then push in from there. They eventually got it after Merc got a kill on a Rampy and then fell off. The one thing that will really work now in TSM's favor is you are hindered by where you can return to the site in a post plant by an operator like Nomad. It is very unlikely that Thinking Nade was able to do any establishing of his position and get any of those air jabs down. He likely died with full utility, and because of that, you don't have to worry too much about where they're going to be coming from, or rather, where you are going to be returning to the site from. C4 dodged by both Canadian and Rampy. Good teamwork, and there will go the wall into Throne Room. They're trying to take out the Maestro Cam. That's Fultz's job. Unsure if he got it, but at least his Ash charge will land. The Cowboy hat of the Maestro's position will give him away, and he'll have to have a nice little rodeo with the members of SSG as he's taken some damage. Only 40 seconds left. Space Station have been trying the same thing. They've still got smokes available, but they are very apprehensive of pushing in. They'll get cut off by the smoke. There's Pojo Man. His head spotted for a second. He's taken out by Rampy, who barges right in. He gets the skeleton key, and down goes Jaeger. He's doing so well. Looking for yet another. Down goes Merc. Perfect. He's got a 4K lined up. Diffuser for Canadian goes off. Bosco gets achieved. And Rampy looking for a third. As he's got Bolo in his line of sight, it's Canadian who'll get it instead. 4-2 is pretty darn good for the attackers here on Theme Park. And they've got first place in NA lined up and waiting. They've got it in their mind. And right now, they're the favorites to do so. We'll switch halves with Space Station in the lead.
4-2 is not just really good. 4-2 is basically a win. So I would say that it's all but over for TSM. Unless this is going to be a purely attacker-sided theme park. Which, you know, that's not outside the realm of possibility, given that, you know, theme park is so fresh in the meta. It's entirely possible that it just pans out that way. But nice attack there for SSG. 40 seconds, as you said, when the execution came out. The biggest thing is that TSM had no control over the actual breach. And the reason they had no control is because there was a well-placed smoke, I'm guessing from Bosco, between the bomb sites to cut off that line of sight. The Jackal for sure. But yeah, again, I believe Bosco. Anyway, that smoke, coupled with the fact that the push from the Buck was unhindered, allowed for full control of Throne, then control of Connector. Smoke's still there, plant goes down, and the round's basically over. Great job to Canadian dedicating himself to that plant. Now, TSM fighting on the back foot, going into this, they're going to have to work some serious magic to make this one come back. I don't see it happening, to be honest, and I'm a little bit surprised how one-sided this has been so far. That's my main takeaway right now, is a 4-2 is pretty desperate for TSM, and I was not expecting that.
We'll see what exactly SSG can do on a more defender-sided map, and this is where I think things are going to get really interesting for people to watch, because number one, regardless of which team swapped, I wanted to say irregardless again, thank you for putting that in my brain, regardless of which team starts on defense and attack, what I find more interesting is not what happens through the first bit, but what happens after that. I am intrigued to watch the team that gets to defend second to see if this is really going to be a defensive match or not. Because right now the question that we have is, Space Station has looked like a much better team, yes, but are we just magically witnessing a very theme park, a very attack-favored theme park? I don't exactly know.
Sometimes, and I've talked about this endlessly, but sometimes it just comes down to the teams and how they match up against each other. Sometimes the map changes based on that. And no problem, Parker. You're welcome. I'm glad I could be of service. Top of dragon control established here for TSM. I'm going to be putting in some work here to try and get the wall open, but the Kaid Electroclaws will make that a little bit difficult. There'll be a grenade to clear that out. And it goes. There goes the Electroclaw. Second grenade to deal with the next Electroclaw. Wall opened. And an impact to deny it, so wall not open. Pojoman gonna need to make sure he has the appropriate tools, but the electrical will come out. Pojoman gets downed. Chief will kill Rampy before he can finish off the thermite. There is an exothermic still, so the wall can still get opened up for TSM. But SSG's done a good job at least of delaying the opening of the wall.
TSM is really doing well with these opening picks, but obviously not good enough given the score line. He'll have to just wait for now. As you noted, the gadget work from TSM had been a little bit tough on them. They've also lost that HP of Pojoman, but they are primed to basically do the same style of execute that we saw from SSG. The difference is that TSM smokes are in the hands of Geo. I don't know if there's another logic bomb ready for Geo or not. The mute jammers will be integral if that's the case. No, Geo is utility starved. Most people are utility starved, except for Achieved and Bolo. Trades of kills coming in with Bosco starting it off, answered back by Achieved. There's the Jaeger of Canadian putting in good work. He'll do some damage from his position inside of this split. Down will drop Thinking Nade just to come to the rescue. They called in the cavalry. Canadian can't hit his shots. In the safety of a default plant behind the throne, somebody will have to watch as Achieved is getting this one down, trying to draw them out. There's a C4 ready and willing. It'll hit, but a little bit too late. Canadian can't soften up the player on throne wall right now, putting us back into a 2v2 with the objective in the hands of TSM. Very desperately Thinking Nade will need to go over and start this defuse. Is there a drone on it? That will be the major question. He's got the help of Bosco nearby. C4 in hand, it'll get tossed out. Does not connect fully. He's flashed and blinded. Thinking Nade getting some damage done. He came close. Inside the bomb site is the Ash of Bolo, and nobody seemed to know it. As so was Geo. They were both in great position, and they hold in the post plant. It's the Dokkaebi to run right in and gun down the Kaid. The Ash playing farther away. A bit of a correction, but TSM doing exactly to SSG what had been done to them just a few rounds before.
So we're lining up for what you suggested, an attacker-sided theme park. Not quite there yet, but it's looking that way. It was a much more time-efficient attack from TSM than we were seeing from SSG. Managed to get the wall open with plenty of time to spare. Whole minute, in fact. And that's despite the denial that SSG was putting up. The Kaid Electroclaws, the attempted peek there from Rampy to stop the opening of the wall outright. Lots of layers there for SSG, and yet still TSM get the wall open up quicker than SSG could. So it's looking like TSM are really solid on attack. Their focus on the bomb site exclusively was the real kicker there, and it really caused problems for SSG. Didn't see a whole lot of roamers from SSG either, or at least not a whole lot of effect from the roamers. That is the big difference between TSM and SSG setup. It'll be Drug Lab for the second site here for SSG. Same set of sites that TSM has been using. Seems like Drug Lab is favored child here for Pro League so far. Apart from Throne, of course.
This is just Throne Room the game right now.
Yeah, I mean, it has been. Not this round, obviously, but we've seen a lot of Throne Room, yeah. Throne Room Simulator.
Throne Room Simulator?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would be confused. I believe they called this the Yo Boy Roy strat, which is where you fully reinforce the wrong bomb site and confuse the attackers into attacking in places you don't expect. Immediately burning a logic bomb, though, to try and maybe abate some of this confusion, is Geo over by the cache doorway to head on in, and he knows that he's got a clear path. I don't know if he's being thwarted in terms of droning by Thinking Nade having mute jammers up. There goes another logic bomb. So Geo is just using these to be able to establish themselves. Interestingly enough, this has been very quick in terms of the way that TSM have been able to take ground here on this top floor of Theme Park.
Merc trying to catch somebody on the roam. Nobody caught. Bolo's made his way upstairs. Macy J in full assistance. TSM have the control they need above. They need to turn this into site control, though. Plenty of time, though. Again, this has been very quick for TSM so far. They've been good at that. Doesn't mean that they're not going to start slowing down and wasting time at some other point. They will open up the throne room wall, though. Maybe this has been called out now, that it's the wrong site? I imagine they're just trying to open up Throne to deal with the roamers. So the actual strategy here for TSM is or not from TSM, but for SSG is actually, so they're, by the way, they're opening that to try and deal with the impacts. Let's see if it works. It will work.
Got it. The Electro Claw was but a second too late from Rampy, and it's much easier to take out the X-Kairos given how much longer they are to detonate. A drone will expose Rampy from behind, and a C4 will not do much to TSM, if at all. You can see from the HP that they have not taken a single point of damage. Under a minute to go. This off-site play right now from SSG working out well, but the opening frag goes to TSM yet again. They've lost 5 in a row, and with it, you know how likely it is that team is going to be able to hang on. Rampy's bold play claims Pojo Man. Merc goes down. Both teams take 2 of each other out of action, so back to almost even we get, but still favoring TSM. Fultz and Thinking Nade are well primed with plant denial, and there's one toxic canister left in Fultz's hands. I don't know if he's aware of how close somebody is to playing inside a bathroom. Bullet tracers go by, so he knows someone is there. Holding the other angle is going to be Thinking Nade. C4 in hand, it'll get tossed out, but it's way too early. No damage being done. It's all now up to Fultz. He's inside a bathroom. Arcade toilet, as it's called, and it's going to get real messy in there. Geo finishes it off, and these teams are now tied up. This is why they're competing for first. This is how close these squads are. 4-4 through 8 rounds of Theme Park.
Oh, it's been an interesting journey to get to this point. So far, only 2 successful defenses on Theme Park of all maps. Bit of an oddity. But yeah, 4-4, as you said. Initiation, the next bomb site here for SSG. They're going to keep changing things up, keep moving around, try to find a bomb site that works for them, as that last one certainly did not. The setup from SSG was mostly focused on the bomb site, not a lot of roaming going on, which is why TSM is able to clear out the top floor so quickly. Bomb site was not well held. They didn't have a top floor roam. It was a really odd throne room roam that didn't work very well for SSG. And yeah, the retreat for those roamers was cut off well by TSM. Good read for them, establishing what they needed in order to punish that roam, punishing it, and then executing onto the bomb site. Sure, with barely any time to spare, but I guess enough of a cushion in the meta that we're in right now for it to be a success. So we're going to initiation. Again, a different bomb site. One we actually, I don't think we've seen yet. I don't remember I don't think TSM brought us here. So SSG going to continue to try new things until they find some success.
TSM did not bring us here. TSM defended Throne Room 4 times and Lab twice. Michael, if you were taking notes, you would have known that. There will be a test at the end of this, by the way. I hope you're prepared.
Wait, okay, hang on. Let me think. Started on Throne Room. We doubled Throne Room. TSM lost Throne Room, won Throne Room. Lost drugs, won drugs. And then following that, it was Throne Room again, drugs again?
Wait a minute. Are you saying that TSM won drugs? In this economy?
What?
Well, of course TSM is playing better if they won drugs, Michael. My goodness.
Oh no, I meant the bomb site, Parker.
No. Achieved pistol out, takes out Canadian.
What happened there?
How does that... The Pulse was obviously playing below on entry to try and deny entry, but I don't know exactly where he died from, and it looks like Marcy was equally confused. There he is. He's right inside a gong. This is 6 opening duels in a row now for TSM.
What's Canadian doing in gong?
Making noise? Too much noise.
He must have hit the pulse sensor and just made too much noise when he pulled it out. That's unfortunate for him. Now, Nade's going to go into initiation, trying to find some targets, but nothing coming of it. Merc really not happy about that. Of course, he'll rappel in. Very dangerous, but he makes it in. Looks like he's got cover as well from his teammates. One on either side of that doorway for SSG to hold on to this. Nade goes left. No one caught. Exothermic to open up the wall. Could be a Kayi Electroclaw. Yeah, there it is. So the wall gets denied, and that's one of the Exothermics caught. No more nades for Merc, so he's not going to be able to deal with this for his teammate, which means someone else will have to. The obvious choice is Bolo, but is he really in a position to do so is the question. There it is. He goes for it, and it works. So, the second Electric Claw will come out. No, it's a C4, in fact. Second Electric Claw already gone. And the C4 misses. It hits the door frame. So, wall open, and TSM have an avenue for assault.
If that hadn't hit the door frame, both Pojo and Merc were as good as dead. So you have to thank your lucky stars for that play, and the coverage from the Buck. Achieved is looking for yet another. He sees the shoulder, the pauldron of thinking nade, down he goes. That's Merc doing extraordinary amounts of damage. He'll try to rush on in. Fultz with 2 kills. 3 kills for Fultz. He's on his back. What else can he do? Take a break there. Your back must be heavy, or must be hurting from how heavy that lifting is. Geo and Bolo with lots of fragging potential. They're going to have to pick up that diffuser and go for it. In sprints Bolo. SSG are waiting. They have a numbers advantage, and they want the lead desperately. Trying to toy with the angles to dare Geo into a reflex contest. Diffuser goes down successfully, but Rampy is better than Geo, leaving Bolo now in a 1v3. He's going to get shot from multiple angles. 4 kills from Fultz. A 3v0. A celebratory slap comes in from Bosco, and the lead will go back in favor of Space Station.
Bomb defusing attempt failed. Defenders win.
Solid job there to SSG. And Fultz specifically, of course, for holding that line and just not giving up on it. TSM gave Fultz a series of 1v1s, and he managed to win out in all of them. That's that TCSD-12 really coming to Fultz's rescue and allowing him to do just that. Not many other guns are going to give you that opportunity. Maybe Maestro's LMG. Anyway, great job to him. Great job to SSG, holding firm. So they'll get their first defensive round, and now TSM find themselves once again losing out on the round situation, being in that being in the losing spot, I guess, overall. One away from match point here for SSG. They'll go to Throne Room once again. Try and make it work for the second time. Did not work out great for the first one.
Need to locate and defuse bombs.
That last round was really scary for TSM for a number of reasons. The main reason, I kept thinking about, like, what if there was a C4 from below, man? They cleared it out, to be fair, and there was a C4 from below. It was the Pulse. They managed to clear the Pulse out. They dealt with that problem. But imagine somebody rotates on the defense. C4s from below and initiation. They're all clumped together. Round over, just like that. It was freaky, man. Some scary stuff.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Throne Room so far, if you're keeping track at home, is now being played for a 6th time. It has been won just 1 time on defense. 4 attacking victories. We'll see if the stats hold or if we buck that trend. If we do buck the trend, it's Space Station going to match point.
We've had a buck every, I think, most rounds now.
The buck the trend was not a pun.
It's there, and so it is.
I get it. I understand what you're saying.
I don't have a choice, Parker.
It was not a pun, Michael.
Can't just decide like that.
Don't tell me how to intend my words, you punk. But no, Throne Room so far, the stats right now are 1 defender victory, 4 attacking victories, and almost all of the executes have come from the same direction, and all of the plants have largely been behind the throne itself. As you can see, everything is opened up, and, well, with teams only running just a lone Jaeger, there's no Wamai to catch all these extra gadgets that are thrown in, or secondary gadgets that are possibly tossed in, be they frag grenades, etc. Trying to burn out the ADS, cook your frag grenade, hope that you hit the Electric Claw. There it goes. Pojo Man's going to go for it. Are you going to be able to do anything? There goes another grenade, and it'll be no problem whatsoever. Opened wide up. This is perfect execution from TSM.
So again, the reason they opened the soft wall is to try and protect the exothermic charge from the impact grenades. The nades that go over the wall from the attack are to try and get the electro claws. So everything going according to plan for TSM, and as Parker said, perfect execution onto the wall. So that job done now for TSM. They'll have to look to other parts of this attack. There's still roamers above for SSG, and that's something that needs to be dealt with. Looks like 2 of them, in fact. It's going to be Rampy and Thinking Man, I believe, upstairs, trying to deny the push-in vertically with holes in the floor, I would assume. That's not going to work over by Throne Room. There is no soft destruction there. They can at least do some damage over by Control. bolts will go down to Achieve. First kill for TSM. That's an entry into the site. I believe a player over by the throne. That'll make the clear a little bit easier for Achieve. Here we go. Smokes to cover the cross, but Bosco's there, and he's better with the TCSD-12. Achieve will pick up that diffuser and go for another plant. The firebolt pushes Bosco back. This should be a plant here. C4 is possible, though. Bosco's going to rip it, and it's post-plant now for SSG. They'll have to retake. C4 does not net the kill. Achieve will retake his own position after leaving to dodge the C4. TSM now doing a great job of holding on to Dragon, and this is going to be key to their success as they can cover the cross from here. As down goes Achieved, the cross is going to be super important. Geo needs to land his shots, and that's definitely going to be key, as does Merc, who lands his on the right. Roam from Rampy that gets shut down. The cross is not held, though, and Merc has to pick up one more by Throne before getting shut down by Canadian. Over by the breach is Bolo and Geo. The push from Canadian gets shut down, but thinking Nate in a 1v1 against Bolo, he's barely got any time. In fact, he doesn't have time, and Bolo will win it on time alone. A nice try there on the retake for SSG, but TSM once again managing to attack Throne successfully.
1 defender victory, 5 attacker victories. Yeah, you don't go to Throne anymore. I get it. Teams want to go here because it's the site that they probably have the most practice on. I understand why, but it's not where you ought to be going. It is not a smart idea. So where are you going to go of your space station? Well, you're going to go to bunk/daycare. All right, go up top. The second floor was good to you previously, so go there a second time. Different bomb site? Okay. This is going to be largely, I'd imagine that this is going to be mostly cafe control. Canadian running the Kaid and the Goyo coming out. This might be a fake out for TSM to think that they're going to Throne yet again with the lineup that was being brought. Makes an awful lot of sense. I go back to the interview with G2 when Citizen said banning Goyo is the single reason why we saw an ability to attack Throne so easily. The fact that Space Station nor TSM brought a Goyo at all is a little confusing. I mean, he is a strong operator. As of right now on the test server, he will be losing 1 shield, so maybe teams are expecting him to be out of the meta, so they're not playing with him just yet. I mean, you're prepping for a meta that's coming. I'm not sure. That's just us, presenting hypotheticals, but
no hypotheticals, Parker. Don't you know we don't do that around here?
5 seconds left.
my bad.
Known facts only. No assumptions, no guesswork. It's against the law. Don't you know?
That's illegal.
Yes, that is what they say. That's what the kids say. Oh boy, alright. Well, yeah, it's been a really weird match. It's been as close as we hoped it would be, though. So there is that worth keeping in mind. 5-5s means we get to see every single round. Now, it's like a cafe take. Open angles here for SSG on the setup. They want to challenge into cafe from the bomb site. TSM will have the edge there because the ACOGs, obviously, and the long angles. But that could still be won by SSG if they're hitting their shots. It's definitely winnable. Just an odd, very different setup. Usually teams will reinforce walls into daycare from cafe. Wonder if they know if there's anyone below or not. I don't think there is anyone for SSG downstairs to C4 in a cafe, but I wonder if they know that. Yes, they do know that. So TSM being thorough, they've put Merc underneath. That's good awareness from TSM to make sure that they have cleared out below before executing. SSG's got a good setup to stop cafe push regardless, though. You can see that there is an array of angles established by SSG onto the big cafe door, the one in front of the Ash right now. The Evil Eye is really hard to get there because it's on top of the box, and the way that the explosives work, I mean, the wall was protecting the Evil Eye, so yeah. First kill, though, does go to TSM, despite the Evil Eye persisting.
These opening picks right now have been so crucial for TSM. They've been crucial for every team to be able to establish some level of control to some extent, and well, TSM needs it desperately, especially with Canadian gone. Magnets from Wamai continue to regenerate. Magnets, how do they work? Well, in this case, they just continuously grow in your pocket, and you can toss them out and stop these projectiles from the attackers coming into the bomb site. In this case, TSM will have freer range. We'll have to work around the ADSs by Jaegers. It's a cafe take. Down goes Bolos. Fultz just goes entirely crossbody. Logic bombs will stop the defense from being able to do too much as Pojo goes for the defuse. Merc with one. Down goes Pojo Man. C4 ready in hand. There it goes. Does not connect. TSM will be able to get out after their third execute going in a row. There goes a C4. Down goes Geo. Say goodbye. Rampy with a second. My goodness, it's Merc now in a 1v3. He's on the stairs. He's been so great today. He's getting ping marks. He'll have to go down below. He can buck from below, and there he goes. But not enough. He gets splattered. Goodbye so long. Rampy takes out Thinking Nade. And with that, Space Station will take the round. So long, Merc. You were good, son. Real good. Maybe even the best, but not today. Space Station is the best. They get 1 point. A tie between SSG and TSM is a victory for TSM. That's what's on the line. In this case, it's a 1-round shootout.
I want to say like it's from a boxing movie or something. I don't know.
It's the soldier whose voice actor passed away today.
Oh, right. Way to pay homage. Well, that round. Well played for TSM to get the objective down. I will say that. His ability to plant the diffuser their ability to plant the diffuser continuously has been pretty impressive. SSG's though, retake onto the bomb site. They didn't jump the gun. They knew they could play for retake. They didn't have to deny the plan in the first place. And that worked out great for them. And props to SSG for reading that really well. Specific props, I believe it was Rampy who was putting up big numbers as the mute, I want to say. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was Rampy. And he was the saving grace for Space Station. So now they get match point. At the very best, TSM is going to be able to draw this.
10 seconds left.
Space Station at least locking in the 1 point. We'll see how it goes, though. A draw would be appropriate. That would result in a win for TSM, though. Because they would maintain first place. And
that is correct.
The only win scenario here is where SSG wins this next round over the next 3 minutes, and then they jump up from 22.5 thousand to 50,000, which is what you get for first place.
This SSG squad has never qualified for a Pro League Finals ever. Same with the TSM squad, though the TSM team is obviously a much newer team than SSG. If you trace back the lineage of the SSG team, they were in the very first match that I ever casted with you when they were known at the time as, were they Bittersweet or Most Wanted? I believe they were Most Wanted at that point. They'd been Bittersweet.
Most Wanted.
They had been Bittersweet prior to that, and it's interesting looking back, you and I casting together as there's uncertainty looming, and Space Station, they are certain they'll get that opening pick onto Merc. He has been so good. He is gone. SSG have a very big opening because of this, but there's uncertainty coming with the regionalization and what happens next for Pro League, and I just want to say that it's been a pleasure up to this point, Michael, being able to cast these teams, and it's nice to still see familiar faces around. But
that's been fun. That's for sure.
It's been a real fun almost 3 years here. So even though I say here as I am sitting in my bedroom, but
for you about 3 years casting in Pro League, yeah.
Thinking Nade is downed, and funny enough, this is actually the same spot I sat in when I casted Thinking Nade for the very first time ever in my life, so here we are, but he's been picked back up, and the advantage is still in SSG's hands.
Deploying drone.
TSM have done damage, though, at the very least, so that's worth something. Nothing really happening after it, though. TSM need to be careful of time, of course, as we're getting very close to running out of it.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Site known to be drugged. The rotations will start to come out. Now, drone has been cleared out. Got a good hold on the horizontal. There's no hold on the vertical, though. Soft wall into the site. Evil Eye spotted out. Ash Chargers need to be selective here. Ooh. That's big, actually, because that means you now have to choose between opening up the wall and opening up the Evil Eye. But it looks like they're going to use the exothermic on the wall. Canadian will get a kill from, I believe, Barrels. Still a roamer upstairs, and Gio's contesting with that. Achieve downstairs is fighting for his life, and that's going to be all on Achieve now. 1vx, and he will die to Fultz. Space Station, take the match, take the 3 points, take the $50,000, and take first place in North America.
There you have it. World champions and North American Pro League champions as well. It's been a hell of a run this season for Space Station. They would have been fighting for the honor in Sao Paulo had the finals not been canceled due to what's going on around the world. A good effort for everybody, a rough one from Pojo Man going almost 007, which is his old handle. Funny enough, Pojo Man 007. That used to be his Twitter way back in the day. That used to be, and I believe it still is his YouTube as well, but he goes 008. So I guess he's leveled up in that regard. North America has a new top team. Congratulations to SSG. For Canadian, who's on that squad, he knows a thing or two about being in this position. In fact, it's been his team most of the time that's been finishing in first in this region.
Yeah, and well, I gotta say, well played to SSG to secure that. I really thought that we were going to see a draw in the end there, to be honest. Based on what we were seeing from TSM, their attacks were really solid. Looks like they got a little bit too psyched out in the end. SSG also got way more aggressive with their roam. That is another thing. Space Station were being pretty passive in terms of the roaming for the most part, especially vertically for the majority of that match. But then at the very end, they adjust. They have a much more prevalent roam game, and it helped them a lot. TSM clearly were not expecting it because they didn't fully clear it out.
Well, we have an interview ready with Space Station, so we'll bring it up on your screen. Not just world champions, but also the team that finished first in their respective region. Let's get the interview underway. Hello,
hey, how's it going?
Lycan. How are you?
I'm good, man. Very excited.
Very excited. Obviously, nowhere near as excited as when you won the Invitational.
Yeah, that's once in a lifetime.
That is. Now, your team finished first. You went a perfect 7-0 run in the second half. You didn't drop a single game. You needed almost every single round to do it. What is it? What is the secret to your team? What is the secret to your team's success over the last couple months, looking literally unbeatable?
I think we kind of got a little blessed by the direction that Ubisoft took the game. With the slow meta that everyone is being forced to play. A lot of people have been complaining about it, asking me questions about it, but I keep telling them, like, we've literally been playing this kind of Siege for over a year. Like, we know how to play the ins and outs of the slow, isolated attacks and everything, and it's what we're good at. So, yeah, I think we got a little lucky. I think, the teams at the top also very good, and we had really good games against both of them. So, really happy with how it turned out. Really happy that we kind of broke some of the ties and stuff that we've had on online seasons and everything like that. So it's a really good feeling right now, for sure.
Let's talk about this matchup in particular. You go up against TSM. You just played them at the 6 Invitational. From you as a coach, how much prep work goes into this matchup, knowing what all is on the line?
Yeah, I'd like to tell you that, there was all these crazy things being done. But honestly, for me, I like to keep it the same as it always is. I don't want to stress people out about it being a big match. So you have to do more. I like it to keep it the same as it always is. Back to routine. It's a normal game that we got to win just like any other game. I just think that we probably tricked them with theme park. I think they probably thought that we'd been bluffing it all season, but we were actually setting it up for this moment all season, and they let it go through, so we grabbed it.
Let's talk about theme park, because that was in line of questioning of obviously, given where you just played on that match. You specifically set it up for this matchup. You hit it.
Yeah, we had other chances where we could have gone there, and we kind of wanted to. I think the only ones we didn't want to go to, we knew Tempo was specifically beating us, and like no other teams. Other teams were kind of like beating us a little bit, but we knew that most teams were leaving up maps that we liked, so we could like go there, border, and we got Clubhouse one time and stuff like that. So we knew that if we kept showing that we were willing to play on it, or like when we did ban it, we wanted to ban it early so it looked like we were completely giving up on it, that eventually there was going to be a team that thought we were bluffing on it and we would take it.
How much work goes into learning a new map like Theme Park? And more importantly, I want your take. I know you don't have a definite answer to this one, but how much more work goes in knowing that it is a map that tends to be defender-sided, but you've gotten to see get played by a bunch of other regions?
I did watch some of the other regions play it. I didn't particularly like some of the ways that it was played on others, and also too, I think EU bans it way differently than we do, so it's not even like comparable map. The map is really kind of hard to maneuver around unless you're bringing a lot of shotguns, and which, I mean, if you think about it, fits in perfectly with what we like to do and why we're so good at Clubhouse, is because we like to, create a very intricate maze for teams to have to walk around, and then they have to deal with an actual site execute after that. So once we realized that the map was like really similar to other maps that we are good at, then we just kind of started piecing things together. I can tell you this map was not very easy to piece together. We've been working on this literally all season and making different strats, so it feels good to get the win on it after all that work.
It came together exactly the way you wanted, is what you're saying?
Exactly the way we wanted.
Well, I was going to ask, I know that you're going to be a little bullish on this one, but from what you got to watch, and this is the last question I'll ask, from what you got to watch of that matchup, how well do you think TSM read into you? And how happy are you as a coach with what you saw versus how much more needs work?
I think we still have a lot of work to do on that map. I think we did really good, obviously 4 rounds on attack, and I think that one of them we could have maybe taken as well. So like, I think we did really good on attack. I think where we struggled was being able to keep the throne wall shut. And that's something that's like really tricky with the bans we have and grenading over and stuff like that. So I think there's some sites that are actually really good that a lot of people don't even use. But I'm not going to talk too much about that. But I think that map is a lot better than a lot of people lead on, and I think a lot of people give it a lot of I'll say crap or whatever I'm allowed to say. But I think that map actually is okay. Like, you can play that map.
I can play that map. Have you seen me play this game? I don't know if I can play that map, but I appreciate the direct. I'm assuming it's a direct compliment, but thank you. I don't know.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Now, parting thoughts. Give us your thoughts on the season. Give thanks to people you want. Your thoughts on the invitational, your team's run, where you're at, etc. Now that it's done, it's over. You're done. You're free.
Yeah, huge steps for us online play. Being able to beat all like the NA teams. I think NA is a really strong region right now, especially at the top, and to be able to come out with wins on all of the different situations, I think is really good for us. I'm really excited, very proud. Also, too, thank you to all our fans that are here, spamming the emotes and cheering for us. We really do appreciate it, all the support we get. And also, too, thank you for SSG and like all our supporting cast that's been helping us through this coronavirus and like the craziness that we've had to deal with, keeping 5 gamers in a house cooped up. It's not easy not being able to go outside every day. And I mean, I know we joke about gamers staying inside, but being trapped inside all day will make you go crazy. So being able to like have that support from our organization means a lot. And last thing, thank you everyone for being here. I really do appreciate that. Whether you support SSG or any other team, thank you for supporting Rainbow Six, and make sure you're staying safe, stay inside.
Very, very well said. And your team, your organization, etc., through Rainbow Six, you've been on a hell of a trip in your favorite rocket ship, and I'm excited to see what's next. Take care of yourself, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Parker.